Alright, this is what we see when we first log into the Asus AX88U user interface. It's very similar to a lot of the other user interfaces for Asus Wi-Fi routers, so if you've seen one, you've seen it all. However, this one has some special gaming features which we'll cover, but we're going to talk about the general specifications of this for those who this might be their first Asus Wi-Fi router. So, user interface, right here, this is the general network mapping area. It's going to give you some information about your connection. So you're going to see your WAN IP address, which mine is kind of blocked out. You're going to get your DNS. If you click on this option, it will bring up over on this right hand side more contextual information about your Wi-Fi network, including what DNS you're actually using and some other sensitive things. So we're not going to show that. Selecting down here our Wi-Fi network, you can see your security level, which is broken. Mine is WAP2/WAP3. Because, well, this is a WEP3 compatible device. It did take a firmware update to do that, but again, selecting this option will bring you into these sections here, which will give you more information about your 2.4 and your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi information. After that, we're broken down into two distinct branches. Left side being clients that are connected to my network, as well as air mesh nodes, should we have had one set up. In my case, I do not have an air mesh network set up because this Wi-Fi router gets me all the access I need without having to set one up. But I do have the option to do that. My clients list here, again, a lot of sensitive information there, but it will let me see all of the MAC addresses, all the IP addresses for all of my clients. It will tell me what they're sitting on, whether it's 2.4, 5, or actually hardwired into my system. You can see that I am currently situated with 28 between all of my networks, which includes my primary, my secondary, and my two guest networks. Over on the right hand side here, we have USB drives. These can be hard drives, these can be flash drives, whatever you want them to be. In my case, I had mounted two separate 1 terabyte hard drives. The one problem with this is, while it does allow you to have network attached storage, you do not see two separate drives. It mounts them together into one giant drive. If you have any information, it commingles. You will also need the Wi-Fi username and password to access these hard drives. Now, once you select a drive, and we're going to select this one down here since it's still plugged in because you can see how much space is actually left on it. Selecting a drive brings up information. It tells you the name, it tells you the available space, the total space. Is this a media server? Is this going to be AI disk whiz? And then this is how you safely remove your hard drive instead of just pulling it out of your Wi-Fi router. You can also set it to either be USB 2 or 3. I just leave it on 3 because most of my stuff is USB 3 now. You have health scan of the drive, and then you can format it. Don't format it, you will lose information. So know what you're doing there. After selecting any one of these, you will have to hit apply in order for that action to take place. This AI Wiz is also located over here under USB application, so we will touch on that a little later. And then on your general page here, you also have access to all 4 of your cores, see what they're doing. You can see, system-wide, get a nice little chart here of your cores. I had some nice fun lines going here when I had the other external hard drive plugged in. You can see how much RAM is being used as well as how much you have free. This normally is not spiked up this bad unless you have hard drives plugged in. So if you don't operate hard drives, you will see this much more situationally nice. You can also see all of your plugged in WAN ports. Most of mine are off unless I'm actually utilizing the item, so that's why that looks like that. But it'll let you know, is it a gigabit or is it 100 megabits? That's plugged into it. Coming across to the side here, we've got guest networks. You can set up a guest network for 2.4 and 5 gigahertz spectrum, but sadly it shows extra information when you are after you've set them up, so we're not going to show you that. However, you can set one up as a Amazon Echo speed device setup, think of it that way. So you can have a specific network for setting up Amazon Echo connected devices, and it's supposed to cut a few steps off. I don't want to have something like that on my network, so I didn't do that. Coming down, we have AI protection. This is through Trend Micro, so you will have to agree to a EULA, but you get two different types. You have network protection, and then you have parental controls. So depending on how you are, is what you're going to use. Network protection, we're going to come in here, and I'm just going to show you. We're going to scroll down a little bit here. So you can see you've got router security assessment. It scanned it. It says it's 1, but it's really nothing that I'm too worried about, but it's also sensitive, so I'm not going to show it to you. Malicious site blocking, turn that on. One site was blocked. So that lets you know right here. If you click on this, it will let you know what it was that tried to access it and what it was that it tried to access. In my case, it was a friend's phone who was on the network and promptly blocked it, so that's good. Two-way ISP. So this is another layer on top of anything that you may have on your computer itself, but as you can see, it's supposed to help with spam or DDoS. In my case, I'm not a big YouTuber, so I don't have to worry, but I keep it on because why not? And infected device prevention and blocking. So prevent devices that are infected from accessing your network. And then each of these has their own little tab up at the top. So you can turn it on, and then you can say, show me malicious sites, show me the two-way ISP, show me infected, and then parental controls, which again, if we wanted to, we could access right through here, or once we click into any of these, we can select it from up here. So we have time scheduling. This will allow you to select a particular client. I'm not going to show that because lots of MAC addresses are shown, but you can select a particular client and say, well, I don't want you streaming entertainment, and then you can select specific days and times. You can select just that client. So I don't want Susie accessing Netflix. I don't want Billy doing P2P file sharing looking for those Linux ISOs when I'm P2P sharing and looking for those Linux ISOs. So I prevent him from doing that. Likewise, instant message and adult content. You can do this on a per client basis. So if Susie has a computer, a cell phone, and a desktop computer, that's a lot of stuff for Susie, but you can specify particular items that you don't want to access particular types of content. And as always, you do have to click apply. Now, time scheduling, we would have to enable, but this will allow you to pick, again, specific clients and what times they're allowed to access the network. So if Susie has a bedtime, this is how you would ensure that she's sticking to that bedtime. But if she's got a phone with data, that's not going to help you. This will only prevent Susie from accessing your Wi-Fi network. Moving on, coming across to the side, adaptive QoS. This will show us pretty much what's going on with the network. I've got lots of clients attached. It will show you if anything's really doing anything. It shows you your upload bandwidth, your download bandwidth. Right now, everything's kind of quiet. Moving on, this would be one way that you can help traffic flow in your network. You have adaptive, which will allow you to select a particular style. So gaming clients get more, streaming content get more, web surfing gets more. And when I say more, I mean more priority. So by selecting one of these, the Wi-Fi router will monitor traffic and figure out what's what. So if I'm playing games on my PlayStation and I select games and apply, traffic from my PlayStation will take priority over other types of traffic going through my network. You have traditional, which is more of a you define what you want. And then bandwidth limiter, again, you can select the individual clients and cap them. Now, in my case, I used to do this with my old Asus router because, well, I didn't have quite the connection speed that I have now, but I would tell it that my smart home devices could only cap out at a specific amount, and what I would do is I'd come in here and I'd select the client and tell it no more than this download, no more than this upload, add, apply. My current situation, I don't have to worry about that too much. So web history, I do have this off. I did complain about this in my old Asus router. New Asus, new firmware, works fine. You can pretty much see the traffic history of anything that touches your network if you wanted to. It's really only my wife and I, and occasionally my friend who comes over to game. I don't need to keep track of their traffic. However, traffic analyzer. This will give you a nice visual representation as to what is going on in your network. So, in my case, you can see last date, so you can see the day I'm recording this, clients. It shows you the amount of data being used. Here I have different clients. I have TiVo, my computer, my wife's computer, a Roku, and my cell phone. You can see where the majority of that is going to. And here you can even see 11 gigabytes to Twitch, 2 to Netflix. This is some protocol stuff, YouTube, Hulu, and more. And it's all color coded. So I can select each individual one and it will tell me what it looks like. I can also change this from doing daily, so I can do monthly, I can do weekly, and that's going to change it for all of the clients. So if I do monthly, you can see any one of these days what I was doing, and then monthly traffic of 709 gigabytes. Now, if we came up here and selected traffic monitoring, this will allow us to see in real time what's happening, what's going through my connected WAN port. I can check wired, and I can check wireless. Now I have to select either 2.4 or my 5, and then you see a chart right here of what's going on, and then daily averages, things of that nature. I can also select daily, which will show me on any given day. This will show you totals for an individual day. So dates, downloads, uploads, and then totals. I know on my other review of my old Asus router, I said that this needed to actually work because it didn't. However, it works now. Again, firmware is a great thing, and you can change it. Gigabytes, megabytes, kilobytes. I would just leave it on gigabytes, especially if you're getting this for gaming, because this is a gaming Wi-Fi router. And guess what? Next is our gaming options. Now, I am happy to say that they did make some changes. I've gone through at least 2 firmware upgrades since I've gotten this device because, well, one, when I first added a gaming prioritization, you select add and you select the clients, either, my laptop, my wife's laptop, or the PlayStation. However, when this first came out, you could only have one gaming device prioritized, which was a pain in the butt because I want to game with my wife. However, now you can. You would hit add, select your client, and select add. Notice there's now a limit of 64, but you can add more than one. If you want to boost your mobile phone, well, you could do that just by scanning an app. Here you also have access to OpenNAT, which there is a specified OpenNAT area, and WT-Fast, or what the fast. Now, my one thing is with WT-Fast is I kind of got this Wi-Fi router hoping that I'd be able to use this. However, at the time, I did not know that this was actually a paid service. I did sign up and got like 3 days free to try, but I wasn't paying attention and I didn't get to try actually using WT-Fast. I cannot justify for the amount of filthy casual gaming that I do to pay for, what the fast. However, OpenNAT I have played with. So let's actually go over here and check the OpenNAT options. You turn on OpenNAT, which enables port forwarding, and then you can select gaming profiles. Now, I had tried this both with Diablo 3 and Wolcen Online because, well, those are the games I'm primarily playing still. I did do this with Guild Wars 2, but that required me to set up my own profile. Here you can see it shows Diablo 3, my client's computer Zeus, and then this one, because it was automatically set up, because you can add your own profile by selecting add, you have these predetermined profiles that you can go through. So here, a lot of the more intensive ones, I found the major ones that I use. Now, if you can't find it here, you can come over and select manual, which then has you label the service, protocol, external port, internal IP, and then source IP. I set that up for Guild Wars, and I'm going to say with both the pre-made Diablo 3 and Wolcen Online, I noticed some staggering on my end as opposed to my wife's computer. Part of that was because I also have a firewall on my computer that you have to play with in order to get OpenNAT to work better. But if I'm being realistic, for me and my gameplay style, I don't need to worry about port forwarding in OpenNAT. You might need that level of game optimization. I don't, but I'm showing you what those options are just in case you are interested in them. Notice that you do have a limit of 32 unique games. So if you've got a lot in your profile, you're going to need to kind of come in here and cull it periodically. USB applications, as I alluded to before, this is what you can get to from the front page by clicking on your actual hard drive. So you have AI Disk, which is a way of sharing files, so kind of setting up your own Dropbox or Google Drive. So here you have Service Center, so you can kind of set up your own FTP network and, iTunes if you want to share that. You can set up a network printer, the ability to set up a 3G or a 4G dongle. You have the ability to set up a time machine backup. And then you have a PC-free download manager, all just using a USB connection. So whether it's a hard drive or flash drive plugged into your Wi-Fi router. AI Cloud 2.0. So these are things that I don't do, mainly because I don't want to be able to access my Wi-Fi network from off-site, because that introduces vulnerabilities in my opinion. However, you have the ability to, using Cloud Sync, have your USB flash drive or hard disk available off-site, allow your network PCs to be accessible off-site using Smart Access, and then AI Cloud Sync, which is pretty much allowing you to set up that Dropbox-like situation. And then up here you have extra information for each. Coming down to the side, we have wireless, LAN, WAN, and ALEX-A and IFTTT. This has lots of private information. This has lots of private information. This has lots of private information. Just know that this is how you can set up your 2.4 and your 5 gigahertz spectrum. This is also where you would set up whether you're using WEPA 2, WEPA 3. Again, this is a WEPA 3 compliant device now via firmware. Under our WAN, I'm going to show you, this is very nice in that you can set up a dual WAN, meaning you can have a failsafe or you can have a load balancing. You can set all that up through here. You also have your NAT pass-through information over here. If we come to ALEX-A and IFTTT, again, I really don't want my ALEX-A having access to things that I don't want it to have access to. I have a separate Wi-Fi network set up just for my IoT devices, and I don't necessarily want Amazon getting into more things than I think it needs to. And again, you have IFTTT. Again, these are things that I don't use, but I want you to know they're here so you can see them. IP6, just know it's there. You can use it. VPN, you can set up a designated VPN client on the Wi-Fi router itself, which is a nice touch. I don't have this. I have individual ones on devices, but if you wanted to have an overall one, you can do that. You can either set up a PPTP, OpenVPN, or IPsec VPN, and obviously you have to enable that and set it up. Firewall, again, this is on top of anything that you may have on your computer or cell phone. This is an extra layer. So again, not going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but you can go through and you can set up firewall parameters. Administration. This is pretty much where you're going to come to do more of the tech-y things, we'll say. And again, I use that term loosely because if you're looking at this, chances are you're a gamer, so you're more likely to be technologically savvy. But operation mode, you could set it up as a wireless router, which is what I have. I don't have any other access points. I could set this up as an access point if I wanted to as part of a air mesh network. I may do that in the future with my old Asus router because it still worked. It was just slowing down a little bit in that, I put 5 or 6 years of hard work on it, with all of my IoT devices. So it was time for an upgrade, and Wi-Fi 6, why not? You can select repeater mode, media bridge, and an air mesh node. System, private information in there. Firmware upgrade. It is important to check regularly firmware. However, in my case, I checked probably about a week ago. I do wish this was a little more automated, but it's not. So you can restore, save, and upload settings. Feedback and privacy, that's all located here. System logs, if you click into this, this will pretty much give you a TXT of everything and anything that's been happening in your network. So again, sensitive information, won't be showing that. Network tools, chances are you won't have to play with, but if you're interested in what's in here, there you go. That's what's in there. And then we're going to come all the way back up to our network map, because the last bits here are, if we have upper right hand corner, app, you can get an app. This will show you if there's any guest networks. This shows you your internet status, and this shows you, do you have anything plugged into your device? So that has been a in-depth look at the user interface for the Asus RT AX88U. Again, this was primarily for the lay user if they happen to get this. For those gamers out there who chances are you know a lot of this, 2 gaming options. I was a little disappointed again with the what the fast and having to pay for that, but again, I'm filthy casual now. And OpenNAT, mixed feelings on, only because it seemed to kind of give me higher ping rates when I was using it versus not using it. So Take it with a grain of salt. Maybe those are features that you're looking for. If not, there's other options out there.